We're going to learn about the CommCell browser things on the left hand side here. So very similar to some of the top stuff at the bar, but we're just going to right click on the CommCell browser and you can pretty much do anything you want from here. Disaster recovery backup, you can do a DR backup. We can do a DR restore. We can do data aging. We age the data. We can add remove software like new client, install fixes, download software, copy the software. We can send log files. For instance, we can send these log files to CommVault, whatever the jobs are, by computer name. While this is loading, let's click on the CommCell information. You can get the CommCell database. You can get the database logs, the latest database, maybe some other information. Machine info. You can get the logs, the process dump, the job results, and you could scrub the log files. That's what's cool about that, by the way. And then the output would be like you can take it and output it to local path. For instance, let's just throw it in C drive somewhere. Put it as you like. Let's put ours in, let's say, documents and settings. Let's just put it there, right? Let's put it there. The attach log file to email, not recommended. You can set up a notification to email. You can send it to whoever you want, and this is the subject. Log for machines, etc. A job initiation. You can do it right now or do it whenever. Let's go back to computers and let's wait for it to show up. Incidentally, you can also do job names or job ID numbers if you desire. But after it's done, it's going to put it in a like a zip file, and then you just right click on it and you can open it. And in this case, it's already scrubbed because so via here it says it's already scrubbed via the machine information. So that means that you don't have to do the IP addresses, remove those, and all that. So that's kind of a nice feature. Let's click back in computers and wait for our computers to propagate. Okay, so you see that popped up, said updates available for download. We're not going to do that. That's probably Service Pack 12 probably. Okay, so we're going to change it actually to the CommServe this time. Let's see, CommServe, right. We're going to select the CommServe, CommCell ID, information, machine. I want the logs. I want the scrub log files. I'm going to put it somewhere. I'm going to put it in the CommVault CLS. So I'm going to put it in the, let's go C drive and let's go DR. Let's put it there. That's fine. Notification, email, uncheck that because we don't want to email anybody. And then we'll push run, or OK rather. Go to our job controller and then check on our job, our log, send logs. Actually, that's the other one. Let's go over to the drive, the location, to see where it's actually put it at. So it's under C drive, and then it's under DR. That's where we put it at. While that's going, I'll show you the other ones here. So again, same thing, right click, all tasks, send log files, event search, jobs, search by job ID, CommCell registration, CommCell migration, and the push network config. So for instance, you have a firewall change or something like you change something like a dip switch setting, data pair setting, you would push network configuration. The other one is view, so you can view the job history. Let's click that, and let's just choose anything really. Let's just leave it all blank. Absolute time, you can do relative, last however many days, etc. Click on advanced. You can hear where you can see include include age data, and click OK on that one, and then OK, and then it's going to pull up your job management history. Log files have completed, but in order to view them, we need a 7-zip actually. So I've gone to the website 7zip.org and I've downloaded it, and we're going to install the program, and that'll enable us to actually be able to view those logs. Okay, so we can just refresh it or right click, refresh, right click, and open archive. Awesome. So let's do like this. Let's do like this. Let's go. We're going to extract files here. Unfortunately, it's a file within a file, so we're going to delete this file because that's a 7-zip file, and then we're going to unzip this file, and then we're going to unzip the other file. Extract files, right? We're going to do it here. Well, let's do like this. We'll extract files. Okay, extract files. Okay, extract here. Okay. So before we get any further, I'm going to take all these files. I'm going to create another folder called whatever, logs. And I'm going to put all those files that I've actually captured or unzipped into that folder. We're going to unzip all those other files here as well. So let's do all like that. Right click on it, 7-zip. So you can either click on, say, like for instance, install logs, or install, right? You can either click this here as a text file, or you can use the program called gxtail to do it. So let's head over to the base folder and see what that looks like. So the CommVault base folder, or base, it's called gxtail is what it's called actually. It's going to be in our CommVault. Installer, no, sorry. Content store, base, and then it's going to be gxtail. Gxtail, right? Gxtail, here we go, gxtail. So this is I don't know, this is probably it's a nice tool. I've used it a lot. So okay, so now we just point, so this PC dr logs install, right? Yeah. I'm sorry, it needs to be an actual file called log actually. So backup, then PC C drive dr logs, something .log is what it's looking for. To actually, I'm going to change that to text file. I'm going to do logs and install. I'm just going to do, like for instance, this right here. It's going to tell me some nice information about it. Not real-time information, but some information. So let's do like this. We'll go logs. We'll do install logs. We'll do latest, right? Latest, yeah. Okay, here we go. So this is just an idea of what actually CommVault support's going to see. Whenever you export your logs to CommVault, this is what they're going to use. They're going to say, oh, okay, and they look through and see, okay, this is what I'm looking for. They're going to do the same thing you're doing right here, by the way, and that's how they determine whether or not what the issue is. Basically, that's how they determine everything. Not a lot, because they're really good tech support, by the way, but they don't know everything. So what they don't know is they just pull logs and say, oh, that's your problem, and they use gxtail for that, right? So that's kind of a nice deal. So that's how you use logs, really. Send logs, and that's how you would actually use them. So let's close that out. And one thing I'm curious about now is the scrubbing the logs, right? And I'm curious to see how, for instance, it did. You notice it didn't it didn't scrub my domain out, which I thought it would. So I guess there's something else I needed to do maybe for that, because I wanted to scrub out their garlic food, .local. And I wanted to actually scrub this IP address as well. So, at any rate, okay. So we can close this out. So now let's head over to. We're going to continue with our journey here. All tasks. So we were at view. We're at job history, or job management history. And last time we did was we saw um, what was recent, what's been going on. We did show also age jobs. So we double click on it just to see what's been going on. What have our events been happening, right? So that's that. And then we have view admin history. So admin history is like if I've installed anything in the past, however long, if I have trouble, if I, job status all, view jobs include age data, click OK. This is going to tell me if a DR has been performed. For instance, install software, disaster recovery, report, data aging, sent log files, and you see this little grayed out. That kind of means it's been aged. It's been aged off, and that's what the gray means. So let's click on it, for instance, and it'll actually tell you this job is aged. Aged just means it's been ready to overwrite. You can still know it's there. You just can't pull any data from it. Basically, that's what aged means. You might see aged in like a tape library, where the job is aged off. The information still, like, it still knows about it, and it's just been aged off. What happens is it gets overwritten when it comes back in to the tape. Like the tape will go out, and then it'll come back, and then it's grayed out like that, and then information will get overwritten. Okay, the next one is view. Okay, view log files. We already did that one. We already did log by job ID, and then users logged in. I think I went over this before, but basically two people logged in. And those two people are backup and admin. Yeah, I'm logged in twice apparently. So what to do? Yeah. At any rate, so the next one is schedules. You can view your schedules. These are the active schedules right now, and if you want to, for instance, right click on it, the job, you can edit it, and you can create that, you can edit the policy. It's an incremental, it's a full, every Friday. It just tells you information about it, its association, the alert, if it has an alert, meaning an email alert to it, the security, who's part of that, who's running it, basically. Some nice information on that, and it just tells you a system created schedule for all agent types, and you yourself can put any information you want in there. So you may see that the status is checked, right? On some of them, it's in another area. So if you wanted to clone it, you can clone it, and it'll just create an exact copy of whatever it is you're trying to do there. And you can name it. Let's say name it clone, 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 and there you go. This helps to when you want to create a job, a schedule, but you don't want to create it from scratch. So that's the benefit here for that. You won't be able to do anything, edit it right now. I mean, you won't be able to disable it from here. That's in another location. That's under here. So policies, schedule policies. So this is where you'll be able to actually edit and disable it or enable it. But you won't be able to do it from schedules. Yeah, so that's kind of nice. Yep. The next one is the control panel, which does the exact same thing as the control panel right there. Same exact thing. No different. So it's pretty much anything and everything here is there as well. Next one is tools. So create proxy for content store. remote desktop connection. So if you want to RDP into it, this is where you do it. Yeah, pretty nice function actually. Be able to do that. Imagine you have hundreds of clients and you don't want to get out of the CommServe. You just go ahead and let me go ahead and log in. Done. And of course, customize tools, meaning you can create an RDP session here. This is a pretty nice feature. You can create your own whatever function you want to do. And then, okay, add to favorites. So we're just going to click the favorites. Once you do that, you go down to favorites here, my favorites, and it shows up here. You might want to use that as you have a media agent, a client that's a problem child, basically, and you just like want to check it. So rather than have hundreds go through it, right, you just say, oh, let me go to it, bam, right, and do whatever you want to it. The other one is right click on it and you go to properties. So every single client, CommCell client, media agent, whatever, they have a properties section. Usually it's going to be like about the data pair, like how they're connected. So the general information, what it's about, the version, what type of software does the version have, security, who's able to log into it, or what role do they have, additional settings. So this would be like, for instance, you could set little things, and you can look up pretty much anything. Meaning, like, what would you do? Probably like increase cache, or you might want to do, golly, a number of things. CommVault services complete with other services in backup progress, right? Firewall. You could just go down the list. There's hundreds of these things right here, by the way, that you could just add, to your CommVault, just to make it more efficient. Yeah. So that's the deal there. So it's kind of a nice feature, I thought. And you put it in, type category, and then just what it does, comments, and then it pulls it in. So then activity control. Let's say you have a job. You have a media agent or file server, whatever, client, and you want to, disable activity. You want to disable backups. You want to disable scheduler. You want to do whatever. Disable aging. Well, it wouldn't be data aging in this one, but you do whatever you want. And this is where you do that. You want to just turn it off so nothing else happens. Omit that client from doing whatever in the CommServe. Maybe you have a bunch of clients and this one is a problem, so what you're going to do is you're going to disable it so it doesn't back up while you troubleshoot it, because you're just figuring it out in a window. The other one is advanced features. Configured. These are advanced features configured for the actual CommCell here. And then you have the network route. So this is that dip switch setting I was talking about earlier. So configure route. So you might want to put, like, for instance, a restricted, like if you want to do firewall, like you restrict data or block data from coming in or coming out. Incoming ports that are allowed, a range. You can set it up to where, because by default it's 8400 through 8403, I believe, or 8402, and you can just name what you want. You can identify what ports you want. Especially for outgoing ports, you can do the same thing. Your options. These options are keep alive intervals at 300 seconds. You can name it whatever you want. The tunnel interval, through how many seconds you want to do that. The outgoing protocol or tunnel. Yeah, these are different. These are new now. Version 11, or version 10, you only had like encrypted, and I think you didn't have raw then. I don't believe, but and you had regular. Some cool stuff here. The next thing is summary. All summary is like, I've done XYZ. So whatever you type in here, this is like, okay, you've done this. And we've already put in rules before for the CommServe to be able to talk to the Linux media agent. So this is kind of like a show run or a show summary of what you've done when you've configured the network routes. I'm going to uncheck it because I'm not configuring any routes. And then you have your network throttle. So network throttle is, I don't know if you know this or not, but at night, or during the daytime rather, if backups are going, you want to throttle this puppy, because you know what, like other entities who like, hey, the network's down or it's slow, and then, hey, backups, what are you guys doing? What are you backing up anything right now? Yes or no. So this really will allow you to really throttle it, especially if you have a small pipe. So you might want to put, so kilobits a second, right? So this is 1 meg. You can put 520K. Wow, that's really slow. The send receive, 512K, as you like. It's just going to throttle the backups, and you can start it from whatever time to whenever. Throttle relative to bandwidth. Yeah, I mean it's just really some nice features that they have there, actually. So that's yeah, that's it. That's it for the CommCell properties. So next we have the client groups, computer groups. You right click on that, and you can create a new group. You can customize the view and create a folder, and you can add it to favorites. And then you have your different groups inside. So you might want to, for instance, let's just say Linux client group. Right click, you can do reports for it, you can delete it, you can add and remove software, meaning what you're doing here is this. You're installing software directly into a client group, or computer group, client group. You're doing that directly. You can set the holiday for this client group, meaning meaning this client group only does backups at a certain time. That's how specific you can be with it. You can job status and errors. You can run analytics. You can do job history, schedules against it. A lot of times, that's one thing you'll look at. There's no schedules, of course. The first thing you look at is say, oh, do I have any schedules on it? And you look at and you pause them or you stop them. You have your customized tools. You can clone this thing. You can add to favorites, or you can click on properties. So properties is kind of cool because what you're able to do is you're able to add more clients this way. And you can give it a name. This client is default for Linux. You can give it all kinds of nice information. Advanced settings. You can do activity control. You can disable it, enable it. Security, who's allowed to do it. Additional settings. These are like basically the registry errors, basically, for this particular group, which is really nice. Yeah. You have the data loss prevention, and of course you have the storage device. What storage device is associated with this? So you might want to have, for instance, a client group that has a certain storage device. Maybe it's their client group is Windows, so it's like, okay, we know Windows is not really finicky with their file system, so let's put our lower tiered or lower cost storage on it, right? The lower performance storage on it to for that bunch of client groups, and versus maybe the Oracle stuff or the Linux Oracle, you need like higher speed storage, higher processing power basically. So that's kind of a case you could use for that. So that's computer groups. Then you have your client computers. Kind of the same thing. You can right click on. You can create a new client. You can create a new. You can create a new client from this client group, and that'll prompt you to your file system. Add a new client. You can customize view. Show me everything. Show me little. Show me much. You can do, for instance, let's go show computer servers, show virtual machines, show me the event viewer, the jobs, general, client group filter as well. filter certain things out. The other thing you can do is you can add to favorites as well. So on the actual client itself, you can actually just all tasks. So you have one touch recovery, you have virtualize me, add remove software to that actual client. You have release license for client. You can retire the client. You can push, firewall notifications. Check readiness. Check readiness is kind of nice to where it's a good idea to say, okay, is it working? Can it talk to the CommServe? You'll know it by doing this actually. So you click on whenever it's ready, click on check, and this is different actually than before. On version 10, it looks a little different. Okay, so you see that it's ready. So media agent client ready. Okay, click check readiness again. It just all it does is just pull it, if you will. You can also do a show details, and that's going to show you in detail information about where the index cache is located at, the status of it, where the subclient is, the storage policy. There's no storage policy associated with this. You can right click and restart all services on that box actually, on that actual, so that server, meaning you're just restarting the CommVault services basically. That's all. And then you go to alert, and then you'll see what the what it looks like. Actually, not alert. It's actually events. So view, I believe it's tools, home. Where's event viewer at? Okay, yeah, successfully started on the Linux Media Agent. I'm actually curious about where the events are at. Oh, here it is, right here. Event viewer. Excuse me. Okay, so there we go. Services were successfully restarted on client, Linux client, and that's what you're looking for, right? By the way, with a lot of those right there, event viewer is your friend in this regard. You have your job status and errors, your share client configuration, and then you have your run analytics, and you have your view job history. You have your schedules. You can view the schedules off this client itself. There's nothing there. You can, let's see, admin history, like when it installed. It'll tell you that. Okay. And click here. Click OK. Maybe aged jobs. Yeah. Maybe that's what I needed to do. So I needed to click on aged jobs. Number of jobs. Okay, scroll down a little bit, include aged jobs. That's interesting. Perhaps it's another job history, perhaps. Okay, click on down, advanced, and include aged jobs, and okay. That's weird. Must be, I may have to go back so far away. Job history, time range. Let's go first. Okay, the first until whenever, till now. Okay. Right. We'll go advanced. I'll go include age jobs. I'll click OK. Interesting. I'll do the same thing, but this time I'll go with view admin job histories, and I'll do from this day to another day. Scroll down, include age jobs. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, here we go. So, uninstall software, when it happened, 7:15, right? All that stuff. Yep. So, okay. I'm going to close these out. Let's give us some more room. Okay, schedule policies, data management. Close these out. Job controller. Close you out. Yeah, another thing is, you see the client computer, you can click on summary tab, and it's going to tell you So little nuggets information about that. We're on this one right here, by the way. So it's going to tell you the host name, OS, version, install directory, encryption, install date, the if it's ready or not, and all other types of information. So let's right click again. Let's see, view installed software. That's going to tell you what's been installed on it if you ever want to know that. View schedules, what schedules are on it, or against it rather. Okay, what's the other one here? View media agent properties. This is going to tell you what media agent. Well, it is a media agent, but it's also a client. So I think what they're going after here is that it's the media agent. I'm not sure actually about the client. I may have to set up another server to see what this means, or why this is saying this. If it's only for the media agents, or is it for a client, which tells you my media agent is this media agent. Anyway, the media agent properties are general. You see what you can see here. You can restrict the number of data operations to whatever you want. You have your control, which is going to turn it off or enable the media agent. The catalog, the install directory, the NFS server, if you have one, is set up, the version of the software, the security, who's allowed to log into it or who's the master of it, the associated storage policies, there are none because that's offline right now, your deduplication partitions, the advanced settings, there are none. This is the same thing as like a regedit setting that you can use. You have the network route configuration, what it's able to point to, and in here I think we have one that's pointing to the CommServe actually. Let's click on summary. I believe I do. Yep, sure do. Yep, going from the CommServe to this client here. We also have network throttling. We are not network throttling, but you could in this regard. And of course, the cloud VM management. That's kind of nice right there. So there you have it for that. What else do we have here? View, we covered that. Tools, we've covered that. And the favorites, properties, that's pretty much going to see the same thing. Properties are going to see pretty much the client name, the version, the security, the groups it's in, the activity control if you want to turn it off or enable, disable, restore, and of course the audit. What do you want to do? Audit history. You want to audit it for something like that, severity or notes. So that's a new one actually. I have yet to see that, by the way. And let's click on network. Let's see what that tells us. Same thing. You're clicking on and you're going to incoming ports, outgoing ports, options, and you're able to set up network throttling, the VPN client or the VPN router, remote client access, and then of course your summary. Yeah, so your summary is there, right? So yeah, that's the properties for the client actually. Close that, and then you have your right click on it because we've covered it basically. And Windows is going to have pretty much the same thing exactly as well, with the difference being you're going to see the difference is Windows Server, and then also you're going to see difference at the I don't believe you saw the RDP session in the other one, so that's the difference in the two right there. Okay. Okay, so now next one is to click on the security tab, right click on it, and you'll see, well, there is no right click on that deal actually. So if you click on it, you'll see users, groups, and name servers. So it gives you a summary of what type of security you have, or how many users basically that you have set up. We have the CommCell users that list all the CommCell users, and we can Here we can right click on it, we can disable, we can send a message, we can transfer ownership, we can do properties, we can edit them if we desire, we can put a description in, we can user groups, we can do additional settings to them, and give them actual extra permissions and so forth. The other one is the CommVault groups. So you got a new group or you can add to favorites. So these different groups are like domain admin groups. You have your Linux group and you have your master. Master's like it's like an SA, system admin in CommVault. And then you have your Windows group. So the other one is the next one down is domain and organization. So you right click, you can do a new AD server or Active Directory, you can do Domino, you can do organization, you can do organizational name, OU name, you can do a radius, new radius if you desire, you can do a new jump cloud, never heard of that one, sounds kind of cool though. You can do a new Oracle directory, and then you can do a new open LDAP. So that's kind of nice, little different features you have there. Since we have an Active Directory one, let's just click on that, and we can click on properties or delete. We're not going to delete it. So in here we have the different settings, the domain name, we'll disable the use of the controller, use secure LDAP. We can do additional settings and put some reg edit stuff in here to do certain things if you so want to. Okay, so our users are under the garlic food. These are the users, and then we have external group. So for instance, if we had, say, maybe another domain, or we had other users, another domain, maybe not domain admin, but another group, you could put that in here. And then we go down to roles, new role. You can add new roles here, like alert owner. This is really similar to Active Directory. You know, the groups that they have, CAN groups, this is very similar to that actually. To the master, the end user, the compliance group, the client admins. You double click on it, and it'll tell you what this this client admin can do. So we associate to a user, give them security. You know, this is what they can manage or they can play with basically. So that's the security tab. Next is the storage resources tab. So under storage resources, you can right click on it and you can go find media, and it'll search via unique ID or whatever you want to search for. And we don't have anything, just going to click search. You have to put something in. You have next your duplication engines, and click on those, and it's going to tell you some nice information about, and look at this, you can even do like an Excel spreadsheet, or not Excel, but you can export it to something, or a nice chart basically of what's going on there. Right click on that, you can get a new global dedupe policy, or you can do a view the dedupe verification jobs. You can right click on this, go properties, it'll tell you some information about the duplication, primary duplication, right? So the duplication information, so you have the name, you have total bytes, I'm sorry, total size, total data, you have the total size in the duplication, dedupe database, you have what day it was created, you have the advanced tab, the advanced tab, so you can encrypt it, data on primary copy. You also have the general tab, the copy name, duplication primary. You have the data paths, right? where the deduplication is going. The deduplication library is located. Double click on it. It'll tell you, okay, it's the library is duplication library. The media agent it's writing to or is using actually is the CommVault ComServe media agent, which is CommVault. It has media agent and a file system actually. I believe we clicked on advanced already, and let's go under advanced. No, deduplication. Something else I wanted to show you. Oh, settings. Right. So duplication settings. Do not duplicate against objects older than XYZ. How many days? And that's a good thing because if your data is really old, um, and sometimes it's not worth actually being deduped, basically. So I've seen that before where they don't dedupe after a year. Like don't do that after so long because it's using your erasers in the ComServe to do that, and so that's less processing power basically. Helps it to just increase the speed, right? Then the anyway, so right, yeah. So that's deduplication storage policy dupe primary. You have so this is the dedupe database actually. That one's the deduplication engine, and this is the dedupe database. And here's information about it. So you right click on it. All tasks, you can move it. You can run verification on it. You can recover. That's a good one right there to actually use. That's if you're a CommVault admin, this is the one right here is where you want to be at. By the way, you want to know all about these right here. This is your key right here. Deduplication, run data, recover, sealed deduplication database. Yeah, you want to be all over here. By the way, the advanced, you add partitions. You can do view jobs or duplication verification jobs, and you click properties. And yeah, so the other one is you see here at your deduplication partition. Here's where it's residing actually. So this one is residing in the C drive in a folder called duplication. It's not typically where you have it at, but for lab, it works. So that's that deduplication engine portion. If you right click on it, you can view, you can mark recovery, you can partition recovery history, you can move partition history. So yeah. The other one is libraries. So right click on library, you can add a new library, a cloud storage library, a tape library, advanced, or you can do add to favorites. And that's really it right there with that. That's not much there. And actually on your actual tape library itself, you know, let's see, let's just get an active one I know that's working right now. You can say that, so you can either do it the content way, meaning you see, okay, you have so much free space available, which is like, think about that. You're on your C drive, right? And you're already using 48 gig. Really? For a deduplication? Actually, I'm probably going to actually have to just install a D drive and then change the directory to the D drive because I don't want this thing filling up right away. At any rate, and then the mount path, you have your space. Is it ready? Spill and fill. So, and then right click on it and you can view contents. You can do delete contents. Let's do view contents actually. So these are all the things that are there. That data, right? So for instance, you want to click on one. Yeah. Well, I guess not. So let's do this. Let's go. You got delete contents. You have validate mount path, share mount path, delete mount path, move mount path, properties, allocation, maximum allocation, reserve space, do not consume more than 2 gig. We don't have that checked, by the way. Minimize fragmentation by writing blocks of 128 meg. Deduplication databases. Obviously, there's no dedupe databases, dedupe engines associated with this. Then you have sharing. So this is how you would set it up basically. And here I would actually go in and I would change the path. That's how I would actually change the C drive there, among other things. But anyway, then you have delete content, which we're going to do that. Why not? So this, what it'll do is erase and reuse, use media. Okay, erase and reuse media. So you're going to go look. You're going to look at the event viewer. Well, for that matter, you can do job controller actually. Interesting. I thought I would see it there. I guess not. F5. Yeah, let's F5. Okay, let's go to event viewer. Wonder why I don't see it there. Seems like I should. Guess not. Okay, all right, fantastic. That was quick. That was really quick. I didn't expect it to be that fast. Where I actually right click on it and I go view contents and I see nothing there. I'm very surprised that took it that quickly. Didn't expect it to go that fast. So that means I go to dedupe and I see free space. Oh, you know what it probably means? It probably means that on the C drive itself it has this much space. Probably doesn't mean yeah, that's probably what it means. It probably doesn't mean I have all this space I'm writing to. Yeah, that's right. There you go. So, yeah, that's what that. So that's libraries in a nutshell. And now locations. So you can right click on it and go new location, new location. Let's go at Dallas. Dallas. Type stationary. Let's see. This is Dallas. Okay. Security. Leave that there. Push OK. Okay. So I have a location called Dallas. Right click on it. Properties. I'm gonna have to Google this one because I don't think I've ever seen actually used locations before in CommVault. That one I'm not sure about. So I have to do a little more research, but let's continue on. The other one is, of course, media agents act the same way as do the client computers. The only difference being is when you do a check readiness, it'll be different. It'll look differently actually. Oh, there is no right click on that deal. Okay, so let's click on let's click on this one. We know this is offline. Let's do right click on him. So we have the log, view logs, tools, scan hardware, detect devices, all tasks. So we'll do check readiness on this one. Okay, so you see that is actually failed. So failed to communicate with the CommServe. And yeah, so show details. That'll show us same thing, communication failed between the CommServe and the media agent. So that's interesting. So let's look at one that actually looks what it looks like. Check readiness here. Yeah, media agent not ready. Disk is full. Not ready. Disk is full. Okay, and of course the other one, the CommServe media agent. Let's do all tasks. Do check readiness on that one too, as well. He's ready, of course, or it's ready, basically. Yep, so that's good. All right, so that is media agents and client agents are the same thing, except for those couple different things, couple different variations, basically. What it looks like anyway, and the properties are pretty much the same as well. You'll see actually the you have the control, you have the catalog version. Here's the kind of cool thing right here. We have the catalog. It'll actually give a nice little display of retention index. If it falls below another for the index cache, that is. If it falls below a certain percentage, retain it for how many days. The control, you want to enable it. Version, security, associated storage policies, the duplication partitions, the advanced, the additional settings, which are basically the registry edit settings that we've seen before in CommServe and the other clients. You have the network route configuration, which is going to tell you what routes is it taking. Again, if you have multiple agents and multiple networks, you're going to want to use this because it'll just help you to be able to make it work easier, because you're going to have like 3 or 4 different network interface cards and you need to know which one goes to what, and this will help you out in that regard. And of course you have network throttling. So network throttling, I personally have not done much of it other than on the VSAs have done with it, the virtual machines, but not on these type of devices. Okay, so that's takes care of the media agents. And let's see what else we got. We got the orphan media. Right click on that. I guess nothing. Okay. Orphan media. So you see barcode media type, right? So that often refers to tape libraries. You know, you're going to see, like, I don't know where this tape belongs, and you'll see it here. I don't have anything to show you. I don't have tapes to show you, but you're going to see that. The next one down is the storage pools. So if we just click on it and right click, you can add a storage pool, disk, you can name it, should name it something, you know, whatever that thing is, right? And then really select the, well, this is the actual, so CommVault Lab is the actual storage policy that it's come off of, and we're not going to create one, so we'll just cancel this out. The next one is duplication. So we're going to right click on that, and it's going to give you nice information. Add storage, you can add media agents, you can view aux copy, which are either tape library or you're copying it somewhere else. You have your schedules, you can your properties about the duplication storage pool. So the storage name, policy name, the silo storage restore precedence, security and advanced, dependent copies, cancel that out. So your duplication engine, we already went over that earlier in the duplication engine resources, or engines rather, in storage resources. Now click on the storage portion. You can right click, you can add media to it, you can add storage to it, you can duplication library, you can just look at information about it, view the contents. So earlier we deleted the contents, and so this is the same exact one, obviously, right? Let's click on the Vault Tracker. Okay, we're going to click on Vault Tracker. So a Vault Tracker is a way to actually, you send stuff to Iron Mountain or whatever vendor you have, right? This is a way for you to track them. For instance, you click on Actions, Tracking History, specific time, you know, okay, and it'll tell you you've sent this many out, and you haven't because there's no tapes. And then your containers. So sometimes in these containers, Iron Mountain will send you these containers, and the containers have, well, it really depends on how big they are. You know, they're anywhere from what, 12 to 100, I think, or less. Tapes can go into a container. I've seen one actually. I've seen one. I think it had maybe about 50 or so tapes, and it's like this pelican box basically with like a padlock on it, and then you send that to Iron Mountain, and that's a container. So if you want to right click on this, you go new container, you know, for instance, you name it whatever, name it, I don't know, 1, or, you know, tapes going somewhere, right? And okay, tape's going somewhere. Okay, tape's going somewhere. Okay, security, right? Number of tapes, capacity. I don't know. Let's go 0001 as a tracking ID. Let's just assume. Number of tapes, they're going elsewhere. And then you're able to select move all media, remove all media, delete, mark container offsite, recall media. Let's do that. Let's mark it offsite. So we've sent this container somewhere else. We've sent it to Iron Mountain, for instance, right? So we click on containers. Now you click on this guy here, or Vault Tracker, if you will. Which one is it, I wonder? Oh, summary. Containers. Yeah, I don't know actually where it would be, but anyway, so you have here, you have new customer ID. Maybe your customer is not Iron Mountain. Maybe it is. So customer ID is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Tapes are going somewhere. Okay. And then, yeah. So now, media repository. Right click on that, add shelf. Enter a shelf name. Let's say 1. Description shelf. Description shelf. Okay. Select default media type before selecting repository. Okay. So this is our media repository. So we can always just right click on this and edit it and change it to whatever, right? We can do shelf, we can go tape library. Yeah. Tape library. Okay. And let's see here, we can do a default scratch. We have nothing. We don't have any. We have no tapes basically, right? You can right click and add media, barcodes. We don't have anything, so we're just going to leave that. Cleaning media. A lot of times what happen is you have, when you have a tape library, you're going to have at least 1 or 2 tapes that are cleaning because you're going to need it because your drive keeps just getting used all the time, so it's going to need that. Retired media. For instance, you might have a broken media, broken tape. They're think what 2 terabytes, something like that. So they're sometimes broken. They get broken. It's plastic, right, with some tape media inside. And then you have the overwrite protect media, meaning this is you want to retain this for a long time, basically. Foreign media, and then the assigned media. Oh, since we don't have tapes, really can't show you anything more. Next thing to go over is the policies. The policies under its own information. So policies, right click on policies. Nothing there. Okay. So configuration policies. You have, if you right click on it, there's no right click either. Okay. So the exchange policies, right click on those. New archiving policy, new cleanup policy, new retention policy, new journaling policy. Okay, let's click on monitoring policy. Okay, what do you have here? You have disk I/O stats. Want to monitor that? That's a good one actually to do that one. I would probably actually do that one. I'd probably actually enable that one. So let's actually enable that. And let's see what it does. Oh, I haven't configured a analytical engine yet, so I guess not. Okay, well, in due time. In due time. Okay, so back to the exchange policies, right? So let's go new archiving policy. Let's just click it through. So you have a policy name, whatever that policy name is, test. Okay. The messages, archive messages that meet a criteria, meaning a message older than a certain amount of days, and messages that are larger than a certain amount. Filters, filter out, so you're including these filters, you're excluding these well, including these folders, excluding these folders, and excluding the message types. These type of message types like contacts, appointments, all that. Sometimes you'll have a meeting and it'll be a scheduled meeting. You want to just exclude those. You don't really need to back those up. It's no big deal. Or archive them, if you will. Actually, just care about the email archiving, essentially, what email has been sent. And then you click on advanced, and this is okay. This is very important, by the way. What happens in archiving is this: when you archive a file, let's say it's a file that a user hasn't used in a while, PDF, let's say, right? And your archiving is set up to where, oh, they haven't, touched this file in so many days, and so your archiving is like, okay, if a user doesn't touch the file, edit it, or touch it basically in 100 days, well, let's archive it, right? And what happens is when they archive it, it puts a stub inside, like if it's on the home drive, or their share file, their desktop, whatever. It'll actually put a little stub in that, like, desktop, let's say, for instance, right? It'll put a stub there, and that's like a pointer basically to the file. So if they were to actually click on that file, let's say, oh, 4 months later, I want to view the file. They double click on it. What happens is it'll basically inflate it, or bring it back basically from the archive, and then the clock starts over, meaning they haven't archived it, or they haven't touched it in so many days. But then let's say after 200 days they touch it. Well, the clock starts over. So, and then they'll touch it tomorrow or the next 100 days. Then it archives again. And that's how the archiving works. And the stub is just a way to see where is it at, like a pointer. And these stub files are just like, it looks like the file, right? It's just when you right click on it, the size is very small, like a couple K or something like that. It's very small. So that's really archiving right there. And okay, then you have context indexing. When enable context indexing. So that's creating a new archive policy. We're not going to create one. I just wanted to show you that. And then okay, so monitoring policy, went through that. Let's go to replication policies. New replication policy. So name, we're going to name it test, whatnot. Destination, username. Common base folder. This folder is on the destination host, which contains all the destination paths. Pre and post process. The replication options. Compression, highly sought after to compress it when it's replicating. I don't, encryption, if your environment is encrypted, you know, if it's an enclosed environment, don't worry about it. But if it's not, encrypt that puppy. You're sending it out to the world through like the private network, basically. Yeah, definitely encrypt it especially when you're doing that. Encryption. Now, every time you do any of these little things here, what it does is it takes longer and longer for that thing to go out. But it has to go out. So what to do? So you have the data integrity validation. You click that. It's like make sure it's what you send it. It's almost like the SHA. You probably have downloaded a file and there's like a checksum file, and it'll say like, is this legitimate? Is this the file? And you'll know that. Allow recovery points, auto mount snapshots, and then your VSS snapshot or recovery point for ONTAP. Orphan files. Orphan files are in VMware, for instance. There might be a VMDK that's orphaned. It's old, not deleted snapshot, for instance, and that's an orphan file basically. It's like you can't. It's not a snapshot, so it can't be deleted, and it's not. So you just have to right click and consolidate disks, or even go in physically and remove it. In this regard, is telling us, okay, automatically delete those orphan files. Yeah, and then okay, advanced. So maximum number, minimum, sorry, size of the file using hash is 256. So the block size using for hashing is 64K. And finally, your filters. So exclude these filters from being archived. So, or I mean replicated rather, like C drive, Windows 32, those type of files. You don't want those replicated because you know. So that's new, creating a new replication policy. Schedule policies. So schedule policies are, create a new schedule policy. Schedule policy is I'm naming it something, test, for instance, right? It's for data protection. Yep. Not aux copy, not backup, not content indexing. So I'm doing data protection. I'm gonna protect. I don't know. Let's see. Let's go. Maybe it's not listed here. Archive file archives are protected files. There you go. We'll do that. Close it out and test. Do that one, and then we'll add a time. So let's say I'm going to do it a full every week on Friday, and then I'll do like a test name here, weekly on Friday only at 9 p.m. Sure, no worries. Advanced startup, um, startup job retry. Enter the number total time, running. Number of resubmits, say 100 or 10, let's say, right? Number of resubmits 10. Zero? Is that a zero? Oh, I can't. Okay, I guess not. Can I do that? Oh, I guess not. Okay. Okay, 3 I guess is the max. Enable running time, then media, start new media. This would be like on a tape. For instance, new media refers to tape. So when a job kicks off, start a new tape and mark the media full on success. Meaning, like if you did a job where you did the tape and that's all you're doing once a week or once a month, right? And then you need that tape to be ready, and no other data is written to it. You would mark it full on success. That's what that means. And job retention, the storage default is what you're going for. You can do infinite or 30 days or however long we can change this number to whatever you want. Yeah, so let's say, yeah, data path, the media agent it's going to be using, the library it's going to be using, the vault tracking it's going to be using, or vault tracking information. Yeah, export location, Dallas. Oh, that's what the Dallas means. Okay, all right, that's nice. Yeah, okay, cool. So that's what that must mean. It must be the location means, hey, your export location is Dallas, meaning in that storage resources, um, the like the tape library or must be considered Dallas. Maybe that's what that talked about. Anyway, NAS operations, or rather options, um, your backup quotas, your block storage or block backup, backup offline data, backup from snapshot, read ahead process. Sometimes I've seen this where they put that at like a one, you know, backup external links, and the alert. So alert would be like, send me an email when this happens. That's what that means. For instance, we went over this before, where you have an email that's sent to whomever in whatever language you desire, telling you this is what happened when the job completes. Okay, so we're going to click OK in this. Why not? And then so we already did backup options. We already did schedule pattern. We already did little advanced things like that. Options, okay. Recurring, right? And then we're going to click OK. And then here, associations. So associations are, oh, okay, I want to associate, let's say, media agents or Windows client group, let's say Windows media agent 01, the file system, let's say, right? File system, and you can view it afterwards. And the alerts, again, it's the same thing with alerts, meaning creating an email alert, right? Then security on who's allowed to do this. Inherently, it's the master or whoever sets it up would have rights to it. Okay, so let's click OK on this. Okay, so now we can either disable it or enable it. I'm going to disable it. Okay, so that's the storage. That's the schedule policy. What they can do, how they work, what they're doing actually. So now the storage policy. Right click on it. You can create a new storage policy, a new uh, global dedo policy, a new global secondary copy subclients, and you can add it to favorites. If on the CommServe DR, so that's the other storage policy, right? You can do all tasks. You can do clone, delete, run data verification. Let's do that. Let's show what that looks like. So I want to see, okay, what is completed? Let's do Windows CommServe, okay? Let's do data verification for CommServe. Newly available, verify has been expired, both newly and verified expired. Let's click that. All copies, so you can select a copy, primary if you want, but I'm going to do all copies. Allow maximum, job initiating. We're going to push OK and it's going to run. Let's go over to our job controller. We're going to see our data verification. Okay, so that's the data verification job for that. Okay, so right click on it and do view alt tab. Where I did this one, view media for refresh, media not copied. This is for like tape library stuff, and then of course properties. You can like edit some of the stuff. You can change the name from CommServe DR to whatever you want to change it to, and your copy precedence, your security, your advanced, your time zone. Okay, that is storage policies. So deduplication, we talked about that earlier and a couple other ones right before actually. All task view. I don't think we did actually. Let's actually click on this. So we got deduplications, all tasks. You can delete it. You can view aux copy jobs for independent SPs. You can do properties. You can click on the dedupe policy, and you can all tasks, recovery dedupe database. That's an important one to remember right there. Seal dedupe database. I know we talked about this in another one, but that's just really important. Recover and seal are pretty much that will really save you a lot of time in your CommVault career. Media for refresh, and then of course properties. Okay, so that's storage policies. So you have your right click on sub-client policies, go new sub-client policy, and you can create one as you like. So for instance, let's go Windows file system, right? And let's just do a test, right? An association. Let's do Windows Media Agent, default backup set, security. I'll leave it blank how it is, push OK. Select storage policy, okay. Association, storage policy, where did I miss that at? Did I miss it? Must have missed it. Oh, I missed it. Okay, edit here, and well, mine's not available, so that's why. Okay, we're gonna click on add. Okay, when you click on add, let's do content. No, storage device. Here we go. Storage device. Don't have one for it. Okay, well, creating a new subclient. So, oh yeah, this is nice here. So you have your retention, you have your advanced options, you have your IntelliSnap operations, you have your performance, your data readers, if you will, the general tab. I already talked about this. The content, contents of the subclient. You can add a path, like for instance, if it's a Windows box or a Linux box, you can use like D right, like that. Enter with a new line separator, so like that. So I want to, might be the other way actually. Maybe it's the other way. Might be the other way. That way? Yeah, I think that sounds right there. Yeah. Okay, so contents of the subclient. Okay. Um, Filters, you filter out these things, exclude um, certain files, and certain. So let's do global. Let's see what global yields us. So global says, since I've already done this before, oh, omit these: deduplication, dr, duplication, or duplication rather in packages. Don't back these up, please. Please don't do that. I don't want you to do that because you're gonna just cause you more data. Okay, so that is creating a new subclient for these subclient policies. Let's close that out. All right, and now Vault Tracker policies. Let's right click on that, new policies. Let's do schedule actually. So we're going to see all the schedules that are going on for that Vault Tracker. Again, Vault Tracker is the media agent. Rather, sorry, it is the media, like tape media that we're running. Um, that's a henceforth vault, big vault or whatever, like money and big bunch of tapes or whatever, like a salt mine. Like some of the salt mines in Iowa, they're perfect for like tape archives. So a lot of places in Iowa, I think it is, they have a lot of places that underground that are like old salt mines where they store a lot of archive stuff. So yeah. At any rate, so this one is a daily data aging. We're going to cancel that, and we're going to DR backup full. So this is the Vault Tracker policy, right? Was it? No, that was schedule actually. So new tracking policy. Okay, this allows you to, allows you to track the daily export of the media. Put the export into a pending state. So, for instance, tapes. You're able to track all this stuff with this. So let's just click on next. Export media, do back for reviews. So there's two things. You have a policy where it'll say, I want to export this media to a location. You also have another policy where it's due for back. So meaning, what happens is in the tape library, you'll send out a tape, and probably like 2 weeks, a month, whatever later, you'll get that tape back, right? And you're going to overwrite it, is what's going on. So it's basically you having an off-site tape backup of whatever it is you back up, right? And again, those are going away, right? I don't, mixed emotions for me because you don't have a spinning disk, you just have it on tape. So as long as you have the technology to actually restore it, you're good. Whereas it doesn't require any power, and you can store it wherever for however long you want to store it. Okay, so we're going to go export media. We're going to click that. Storage policies, right? Okay. Media repository, tape library, right? And we're going to tell it, okay, move the select media will be managed as policy. Okay, all full. All media status that are full. Next. And media with the selected criteria will be managed by this policy. So limit the export, move 10 media, and let's see here. So yeah, the older media, right? We're going to do next on that. Okay, tracking transient. There's nothing tracking that, so we're going to unclick that. We're going to do return to any library. Okay, we're going to push next after this. And okay, here it is. The summary gives what you're going to do, what's going on. You're going to all the storage policies, located and not selected, location not selected. If the media status is full, you're going to limit moved up to 10 media. Don't, no retention selected. Yeah, so yeah, so this is basically like there. Obviously, we don't have tape library, right? So that's what we're dealing with. But you can pretty much figure out some of the things that you have in CommVault where you play around with these settings for yourself and figure out what works for you. So Okay, so you can schedule a policy, yes, and finish. I'm not going to do it, of course. Do the policy. Just going to go back. I'm going to do cancel this actually. So yeah, all right. So the other one I wanted to do was new tracking policy, right? Same thing with it is. Okay, we'll go, this time we'll do return. How about that? Returning files, right? Enabled, next, next. Do back for reuse, next. So all the tape library stuff. Limit count, only give me back like 3, you know? Next. Um, export. Oh, wait a minute. Destination. Okay. No, should be actually library. Return to any library, exactly. Or shelf. I guess the shelf is, yeah, probably shelf. Well, select a container, so it's, yeah, that's probably right. Let's see. Select export if the destination container is optional. Available in destination stationery. Select shelf option to the destination if the destination is a media repository. Mm, yeah, it's not really a repository. It's tape library. So specify the vault, please option. Okay. Select the library option. Yeah. If the destination is a library, it is. Return to any library. Push next. Oh, you need to select a transient policy, huh? Okay. Oh, I know why. Let's uncheck it. Next. And next. And would you like to run a policy? No, I would not at a specific time. Okay. So I'll just say send. This is the one that's sending. How about that? This is sending, and this is returning. So send and return, or send and receive. Send. 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 Okay. Duh. Send. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's been updated. Awesome. So that's the vault tracking policy. Next is the virtual machine policies. Um, I'm not using the virtual machine, the VSA agent, so I'm going to ignore this, but you can do create new policy. We'll just show you what it looks like, right? Vendor, all these different vendors you can use for virtualization. Policy type, you can choose from template, you can do live mount, enable virtual lab, which is nice, I'm sure. I haven't played around with that, but that sounds really cool. So that's the policies actually. And now let's click on the reports. So report, my reports. You can right click on it. No, you can right click on general, new report. And this falls under under, let's see, tools. No, let me see here real quick. Under report, where you can, it does the same thing essentially. This one you're just creating a new report. This is for you only, right? This isn't like a report you run. This is something you just right click and you run it. So let's just click this. Let's say data management. Let's just leave the defaults here, shall we? Okay. Leave defaults, and then let's do save as. We'll call it test report, or just test. Okay. Test. Okay. Yep. Report was saved. And close. And what you'll see you'll see under my reports, you'll see general, you'll see test, or you should see test. Should be here, hopefully. Test? Anywhere? No? I guess not. Oh, here it is right here. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I can right click on this and I can do run immediately, and it's going to pull back, it's going to give me some information, some data from the report. So while that's waiting, let's click on, oh, here it is. Never mind. Yeah, awesome. So that's the report it gives me right there. That's kind of nice, right? The backup summary report. Is that what it's called? Yeah, backup summary report. Yeah, it's kind of nice. So, you know, you can go in, and if you're in CommVault, you just go in there and okay, right click on your report and show me. That way you don't get emailed or whatever. You just do. Maybe you want to do a report and you just want to see it yourself. You don't want other people to see it for any reason. Maybe that's something you're troubleshooting on the side, and you know if you show it to everybody, they'll ask a bunch of questions. You're like, hey, I'm just dealing with something. Let me be. And you create a little report for yourself. I've seen that before. The other thing is other reports. So if other users have reports, you can probably see them here a lot of times. You'll be able to see them a lot of times here. Um, view, let's see, view, show, or refresh. Oh, that's it for reports. Now let's click on Content Director. I actually never used any of these Content Director stuff. I kind of gather what it probably could mean, meaning export set. Legal holds could mean we're holding data. Maybe there's a financial record or something we want to save it. Query set, I don't know what that can mean either. And then review set. I'd probably have to. Pretty much I'd have to Google these what they mean because I don't know. But pretty cool. Let me show you what CommVault says about them. So I'm on CommVault's website, documentation.commvault.com, and it says the content director is the node and the export set. So you have the query set, review set, tag set, director tag. Yeah, okay, interesting. This is something that really excites me actually. The workflows. I haven't used them, but they look really, 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 really cool. Actually, to be able to like take your CommVault and do something with it whenever something happens, basically. Yeah, what's cool about this is I right click on it and I can do all task new. I can do um, workflow. Wow, that's kind of nice. Bulk deployment. That's cool. Imagine that. I can just install a bunch of media agents or file agents. Done. Too easy. It's very nice. Let's do. Let's see what bulk deployment looks like. Actually, nice. Or install or schedule updates. So that's nice if you want to do a bunch of updates. So what's this here say? Right click on it? I guess not. So let's right click on workflows, new workflow. You could probably spend hours and hours in here really, and just like creating different things, different jobs, different pretty much anything really. It just sounds really cool. I'm gonna have to play around with it. I probably actually probably may do a video just about this directly actually, because it just sounds really cool actually to be able to play with this. So this is a workflow. This is you know kind of nice. Yeah, pretty neat little tool. So then you have interactions, right? Doesn't look like any interactions are listed. It doesn't look like much here. Add to favorites, right? That's it. And then you have network topologies. New, right click on it, do new topology. So I'm assuming this is like you're looking at, you're able to see a visual representation of your of your topology. So let's say network, right? And then network, network. Okay. Servers, laptops, one way, two way. Oh, I guess not. So topology view or type, one way, two way. Let's do two way. Infrastructure, so Linux client groups between what? Windows client groups, let's say. So push OK. It almost appears as though they're you have it. Where is it here? Laptops. Yeah, it almost appears as though. Let's see. You have network topologies, network, and then what does this look like here? When you double click on it, open it up. So what this means is this: you're allowing, you're creating an ability or a if you had, for instance, let's say you had a dev environment, right? Like it'd be Linux client dev, and then Linux client production, right? Let's say, right? So what you're doing is you're creating a way for them to communicate without having to go through IP addresses or whatever. I guess internally it does it through CommVault. So there's somehow a some sort of firewall or bypass or dip switching or whatever that lets them talk to one another, which is really, that's really good, by the way. So then you push network configs, right, basically, and they'll be able to talk to one another. The next one is the dev test and DR. This is mostly for those CommVault comm servers that have VMware installed on, or and backing up with a VSA agent in any regard. So you have live sync monitor, you have failover groups, and then you have dev test group. So let's do new group. Let's do test here, test. Okay. Description. We'll go see virtualization client. You need at least one, right? It's not gonna, well, it lets you next through, but configuration, you must provide information right before auto failure summary, right? Yeah, not gonna let you do it. But imagine if you had like an area that you're able to actually create like a dev environment, or a failover group in CommVault. And okay, little test lab basically, right? So let's see, let's do the Linux one. Okay, add this, add it. Okay, next. Okay, place machines in isolated network. Why not? Virtual lab, yeah, virtual lab. No virtual lab set up, so we're going to place machines in isolated network. No live mount policies are defined. Okay, virtual lab policy. Virtual lab policy required to proceed. So I don't have all that. So, yep. So anyway, that's kind of nice. So nice little feature that they have with CommVault. Yeah, dev and test and DR, or dev test DR. The next one, if you scroll on the bottom, you'll see agents. Click on agents. Now these are all the active agents you have here on your CommServe right here at any given time. You have a file system of 5 of those. You have 1 Unix agent. You have 4 Windows agent, file system agents, right? And you have 1 virtual server. I'm not really using virtual server because the CommServe is a virtual machine, right? But I'm not using the VSA for this deal. And finally, we have my favorites. Remember earlier we clicked on my favorites, so you could probably even right click this or edit. You can delete it from it, or you can add it. This is like problem children. You want to like quick. Let's say, for instance, you have 100 VMs, right? Like I don't want to click all that, So you go to my favorites. You say, oh, show me what I know to be, the quick ones I want to troubleshoot, and that's what that is. So that's it. That is basically the all the buttons, who's got the buttons in CommVault. So thanks for viewing this tutorial.